Hi, it's Mr. Wilson. Today we're going to talk about how to get your Google images onto a flash drive and from there onto iPhoto and from there into iMovie for your biography productions, but also for other productions such as spotlights or in really any production where you might use an image that you get online from probably Google. So we're going to start there. I've got Google right here in my internet browser, so I click on that. Most of you already know that if we're looking for pictures, we can go to Google Images right there. So I'm going to click on that and I'm going to have Google image search. Now if I just search plain pictures from here, it's going to give me any picture size, but I want to make sure I have large picture sizes. If I don't have large picture sizes, my images will become pixelated. You don't want that. So I'm always going to go to Advanced Image Search. Always do that first, and then once there, you're going to go find where it says size over here, and it says return images that are. You go to this drop down menu. You don't want any size. You're going to click on that. You're going to go down to large and click on that. You want only large pictures. Go up to the related words and type in what you're searching for. So I'm going to go ahead and search for Marconi. Pretend like we're doing that Marconi bio. Here are all my large images, and it says showing only large images. Now here are a couple things that some students make mistakes with. Some of them say, oh, this is a good picture of Marconi right here. I'm going to save this, and they might save this picture here. That's not what you want to do. Some students will take the pictures and paste them onto Word documents. Definitely don't do that. You can't import Word documents into iMovie. You have to have the actual picture file. This is a picture file right here, the JPEG, but that's a very small file. How do you get the large file? Well, you click on it and it'll take you to the page, and it will say see full-size image. Click on that. No, and it gives me this picture, which isn't the picture that I wanted, but let's pretend it is. So there's the picture. That's how you get to the big full-size picture. You also don't want this thumbnail. You want to click on see full-size image, and actually this is Marconi. So we'll take this one, and on the flash drive we're going to want to make sure we go to File, New Folder, and on your flash drive title a folder Wilson Biopics. For me, for you, if your last name is Smith, you'd call it Smith Biopics. Hopefully you'll be using your own flash drive. So much better than using mine. If you use mine, I'll let you, that's fine, but sometimes other students are using it. Sometimes hey, it might get misplaced. I've already lost one flash drive. Don't know where it went. So it's really a lot better to use your own flash drive. My 8th graders have to have their own flash drive, so I am hoping my 8th graders don't ask for the flash drives. You're going to click on New Folder. Once that new folder comes up, you're going to go ahead and type in the name of your folder there. I've already got mine here, Wilson Biopics. Here are all my pictures. To add this picture to all these pictures I've already got in there, I simply click, hold, drag. There, you'll know it's coming when that ghost image will follow you into that, let go, and there it is. Now I've got that picture of Marconi. You're going to spend a lot of time searching for pictures. You don't want just pictures of your person. You want pictures, remember, related to the person. And in my introduction for Marconi, I talked about Graham Bell, the telephone, the Industrial Revolution, the Pony Express. So we've got lots of these types of pictures. I don't have enough pictures here. You're going to want a minimum of 20 to 30 pictures at a minimum, because you have to have at least 18. You're not going to use every single picture that you find and keep. Another thing you're going to want to do is save all your URLs. So here, what I do is I always have this Word document open that was titled Wilson Bio URL. You could name it if your name's Smith Bio URL. And always go to the URL where you get your picture, highlight it like this. Apple C is copy, go to Word, Apple V is paste, boom, there is your URL. Okay, so now I've got all these pictures on my flash drive. Now I take my pictures on my flash drive and put them into iPhoto. So I go down to iPhoto, which is right here. I click on it and it will open up within iPhoto. What you're going to do is, you're not just going to go ahead and import them into iPhoto. You're going to go to File and create a new album. That's going to help you organize your pictures, so you don't have to wade through all the other pictures in the iPhoto. you're going to create your own album. Click on New Album and label it. Again, your last name, Biopics. So I've got Wilson Biopics. I create it. Here's all the albums in the iPhoto. Here's Wilson Biopics. If I click on it to make sure, there's nothing there yet because I haven't added yet my photos. So I go over to my flash drive again, click on one of my pictures, hold down Apple or Command A, that's the shortcut for select all. Click hold on one of these pictures and they're all going to come with me because they're all selected. Over to iPhoto, click hold, let go, they're all going to be imported in there. I'm going to minimize that flash drive. Now here's iPhoto with my Wilson Biopics. All those pictures are in that album. Now I can save this, quit, or just minimize iPhoto and go into Imovie. Great thing about Apple and Mac is all these iSuite apps work together. So within iMovie, I can now go to Media because pictures are media, and instead of audio, go to Photos, and instead of just going in iPhoto and looking through all these pictures in iPhoto, I'm going to go to the album that I just created, Wilson Biopics. There they are. Those are all those pictures that I want. Now, here's what will happen. Here's what it'll look like if you use small digital files. It'll be very pixelated. Look at how disgustingly horrible that picture looks. So here's my start point. Even if I start it, and this is my zoom slider, if I start it zoomed all the way out, this picture is so small it's pixelated already, even zoomed out. But some pictures you'll have are going to be medium-sized pictures if you don't look for the large, and they'll look okay as long as you don't zoom in, but as soon as you zoom in it's going to get real pixelated. You don't want that to happen. So that's just a picture I have in there to show you what it would look like if you indeed had a small picture size. But let's look at this picture. Much nicer. We can zoom in, no pixelization, because this is a very large file size. Now that looks pretty good right there, the Ken Burns effect that's on it. I'm going to adjust it a little bit. I'm going to click preview so it stops zooming in and out. I set my start point and my end point up here. So I'm going to click on start, and that looks pretty good. But these big black borders, if at all possible, I don't want big black places on my screen. I don't want to have big areas of nothing. So I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to set my start point where there's no black borders. But what do you think is wrong with this? Yeah, I've cut his head off, so I'm going to just simply click, hold, and move it down a little bit. So I'm going to have this as my start point, click end, and this is my end point. Maybe zoom in a little bit more, and then of course want to move his head down a little bit. Okay, then I can preview it. This is what it's going to look like. That looks pretty good to me. I click apply, and it puts it into my iMovie timeline. I can change the location of it once it's in there and rendered, so I can pick it up and move it around if I want. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on this picture, which is a memorial for Marconi. Again, set my start and end times as it's set right now. That looks like garbage. I'm zooming into nothing. So you always want to make sure your start and your end points are exactly where they want them. This start point, that doesn't look very good. I'm going to want it, that looks a little bit better, much nicer. My end point is going to definitely not be there. I'm going to want to get this thing up, and I'm just clicking in here and moving it around. That's a little bit too far zoomed in, so I'm going to zoom it out a little bit. That looks good right there. I can click on this to preview it. A nice slow zoom in to the plaque. I might maybe even start it zoomed out a little bit more so we can see that whole thing on this rock. That looks good. Preview it. Looks good. Click apply, and it will render. And now, another thing that's very important for your biographies is you're going to have transitions between almost every single picture. There should not be any time when you go from one picture like this to another with no transition in between, unless you're doing it for a reason. And in your biography, I can't think of any unless you're doing a very fast-paced biography and you're wanting to sync. Maybe then, but you're going to want to tell me, because otherwise I'll probably take points off if you don't have transitions between your pictures, because this doesn't look good. We're zooming in on him and then we just cut to this. We want a transition there, so we're going to go to editing. You could simply go to transition and put a cross dissolve in between them, but as hopefully, well, we don't want to use disintegrate. We're going to use cross dissolve as the transition for almost all of them. And again, if you want to use a different one, you should tell me. I want to use radial because I want to show time passing. Some reason, if it's motivated, I might say yes. But we're going to put cross dissolve, but we're not just going to put it in there like that because, as some of you might remember, when we learned about fire hosing, we don't want movement without any holding of a shot. We always want to compose a shot, hold it, move, stop, hold, compose again. And the reason why is it's not good to cut on movement. Sometimes it's done, but usually not. And so right now we're zooming in on him, and then we're transitioning as we're still zooming, and we transition as that other picture is zooming too. That doesn't look as good as what I'm going to show you how to do. So I'm going to go to this first picture, play it till the very end. So we've got the zoom, and if I highlight that picture, it's going to stop at the very end. My last frame. My shortcut to create a still picture is Command or Apple Shift S, and there's my still picture of the last frame. Now, that's obviously the last frame. It's really important that I get the last. It's very important that you get the right frame. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. Double click on it. Change the 5 to a 3. I'm going to have a 3-second still frame. So at the end of this zoom in, it's going to zoom in, and instead of ending, it's going to have a little bit of time holding that picture. And then the same thing with the very first frame of this. Control or Command Shift S again. My still frame, I'm going to drag it down and put it at the beginning. Double click on it to change the time. The default is usually 5 seconds. I'm going to change it to 3. Then I'm going to go to Editing, Transitions, Cross Dissolve. I'm going to put in a nice slow dissolve. I can't make it any longer than 3 seconds because my transition has to be shorter than whatever I'm putting it on. And again, I just made these two 3-second still frames. So I'm putting a transition on, can't be over 3 seconds. So 2 seconds and 27 frames, click on Cross Dissolve, add it between those two stills, and you'll see that covers most of the still. That's okay because I'm going to want to stop the movement and transition on the stoppage of the movement. And so now we see Marconi, knee shot, we zoom in to him, and we're going to have music, narration. It's going to end at that zoom, dissolve to the shot of the memorial of Marconi, and then once the dissolve is done, then we zoom in. Okay, so that's how you're going to search for Google images, make sure they're large, save them on your flash drive, transfer them from your flash drive to iPhoto in a folder, in a new album that's named your name, Biopics, transfer those pictures into Imovie, set the Ken Burns effect, and put transitions in between them. Hopefully your biography will look nice and smooth, like this one's turning out to look. If you need help, you can watch this again because there's a lot of information here. Ask a classmate, and then third, come and ask me for help. Good luck.